Stream is up. Okay, stream is up. We're ready to roll. Three, two. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me is the usual character, Brad Wren.
Well, back from vacation, 6 days in Jamaica and not having to do anything. And yeah, could have stayed longer.
Yeah, I went to Vegas and partied with DJ Pauly D from Jersey Shore, and that was kind of fun. But yeah, hey, we're back. On today's show, 2026 Season 2 Patch 4 release notes, new scan request for iRacing, ever hot swapped a wheel mid race? We are a week away from the Sim Racing Expo in Charlotte. We're spending Mike's money again, an ambient lights tutorial. The boys from Red Bull have some fun, and how much does iRacing actually cost?
That's right, Mike. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com, selecting the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, first topic. A great video by Red Bull. I mean, Red Bull's been killing it lately, but they got three of their superstars in the same room on a simulator doing iRacer stuff. Brad, what do you think of Isaac Hadjar, Max Verstappen, and Connor Zilich?
Yeah, so this was from the when they were down in Florida for the Miami Grand Prix. Connor was there, and yeah, it's pretty neat. They were each of them were taking turns on the sim, running the Cup car at Miami. So yeah, it was having a good time. You know, it's you got two guys that don't normally run stock cars or are wrecking and stuff. But to me, what stood out is Connor gets on there and. Turns a lap, and then shortly later, Max gets on there and, well, never driven a cup car in real life, and he beats Connor's lap time.
It seems like a trend with Max lately, going places and beating lap times and stuff.
Yeah, we'll
Which,
we'll get into that a little bit later.
but look, it's fun seeing them laugh about it. Like Isaac Hadjar puts it in the wall, and they all bust up laughing, and it's a good time. Everyone loves sim racing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've how many times do we get joking and laughing when we're all in a server together and whatnot? So yeah, it's fun, and when you do it in person, again, I mean, it's pretty neat. We got another video. We get a little bit further in the script about them again.
All right, next up, Matthew Wise, I believe is a listener. He posted up in the forums that he asked Chat GPT to make some jokes about us as iRacers. And what did you think of this one, Brad? Any good ones?
Yeah, there's a few on here, yeah, it says they'll spend $15 on a single car, $20 on a track, 2,000 on a rig, and still say, "Yeah, I'm just doing this casually."
Yeah, and another one here says every iRacer thinks they're one clean race away from a sponsorship deal. Yeah, my I rating dipped a bit, but scouts are definitely watching my splits.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fine to poke fun at ourselves sometimes. You need to have a little self-deprecation at times. So yeah, I mean, look, we all do it. I mean, it's how many times do you hear, everybody starts to laugh when, the person loads into the server and it's like 2 minutes before the race. Anybody got a set?
Yeah, that's always a good one. I didn't think the Chat GPT stuff was too funny though. But that Matthew Weiss scared up, but hopefully it'll get better as we go. Let's move on to a staff announcement from Nicholas Bailey about working on better event server connections, and he talks about the Amazon's global accelerator service. They've been testing it and working with Amazon, gathering data and providing feedback on areas around the globe where our users are seeing worse latency, mostly South America, but some in Australia. And Amazon is able to make adjustments to improve those conditions. Some some they knew about already, and some we were able to provide greater insight into. With those changes in place, we're planning to roll this out with a season 3 release in June across all the race farms. What this means is that instead of transversing the public internet from your location to the race server farm, which is in Amazon, your traffic will instead enter Amazon's network as soon as possible. Then it will travel the rest of the way to the race server and back over Amazon's own network. For some users, there'll be a large reduction in latency they see to the farms. But for nearly all users, this should reduce the jitter that is seen. Finally, it should also reduce occurrences of localized or regional disconnect issues. Nothing can eliminate these completely, but this should be an improvement in that regard.
Yeah, this is interesting. So this was posted in the, I think, the 24 Hours of Nürburgring thread that's about 12 pages or whatever. But look, we've seen a lot of chatter on the forums and constantly. I think the whole packet loss thing is up. I think we're seeing more disconnects than I can ever remember seeing. So something changed somewhere, and maybe it's just the internet. The internet continues to get more crowded. And look, the odd thing to me and is the amount of times that you get dropped, but you just got dropped from the server. It used to be years ago, Mike. You can remember if you got dropped, you lost everything. It was like back when we would be on TeamSpeak. Everything. It was like you lost internet. Now it's just like we're still talking. We're in Discord. Everything's working, and then you just get dropped from the server. So hopefully this is going to help take care of some of that stuff with the routing because I think that's where a lot of it is. I had some issues about a year ago, and I did a bunch of ping plotters to try to see where things were, and you could see, and you can, like with the ping plotter, you can see the hops that you got, and you'd see where you end up with a bad hop somewhere. So again, everybody likes to blame iRace. I don't think it's iRacing's fault, but I am happy that they're doing something proactively to hopefully try to route the traffic better. Because again, look, we're racing from all over the globe, and you want to be able to have close racing. And everybody, it's frustrating when you got to race with somebody who's jittery or who's blinking and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, the Amazon, putting the iRacers in the Amazon pipeline sooner rather than later should definitely help because it's all more managed by them. So, and obviously that's where the end point is for the server. So it makes sense. All right, this next one is our friend Sarah Nochi. She put up a short YouTube short in conjunction with the Ad Council for driving safety, I believe it is. And so it shows her on the sim rig, running her race, and then she gets a text and she reaches down for her phone and to see what it is. And guess what? Next thing you know, she's in the wall. And so the lesson learned, she put her phone on do not disturb and threw it off to the side. But I don't know how many times I've wrecked by looking at my phone.
Yeah, and April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. So this was in partnership with the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So yeah, I mean, look, it's I guess a little corny, but as somebody who has trucks on the road every day in my job, we talk about this constantly. And look, I have mine, right there on my rig so where I can see it. I try not to mess with it when I'm racing just because, again, you never know what's going to happen. But Mike, I know I've heard you, messing with the phone, and I've been in races where you've just wrecked the car because you got preoccupied with the phone.
It's true. And I feel guilty about that. But I also have it where I can see it, but I have to take my eyes off the track to look at it. And same thing will happen with the TikTok chat. Like I have people watching me on the stream and they're interacting and they're saying stuff, and I'll look over to look at it, and then boom, I'm in the wall. Okay, this next one, Brad, really caught my eye because I think Carson Hocevar is on the entire reason that we've been wondering about what's happened to the racing lately in iRacing. And so, why don't you go ahead and read Carson's quote, and I'll do a follow up.
Yeah, so this was from Kevin Harvick's podcast, Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour. So we sat down and talked with Carson after his win at Talladega. And the Carson goes on to say, he says, I mean, I've been a fan of the sport forever since I was a kid. I kind of knew of what race car driver I wanted to be, and I kind of just saw flaws in the game of man, like why is everybody letting everybody go? Like if you know, like when I was late model racing, everybody, would you'd have a 250 lap race, and you knew everybody was just going to let everybody go in the first 100 and take care of each other on the back end. And I was like, man, well, if everybody's just letting everybody go, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be the one guy to just I'm going to pass them all. It's going to be my way. It was way easier at the front. At the start of the race, I was like perfect, and so I'm always just that thought about flaws in the game. So I'll let you talk, and then I'll follow back up.
Well, he calls it flaws in the game, and it's really that, and we've seen it from Carson this year and the way he drives. If there's an opening, he's taking it. He's going to shove it in on the bottom on that restart, whether the guy on the bottom lane likes it or not. And that's his style. And I just feel like, this is exactly what we were wondering about, like what's happened to the racing over here on the iRacing side. We felt that shift from what the racing was a few years ago, where there was give and take in the sim. But now, I think Carson's young person mindset on this never give an inch, no matter what, has resulted into the current racing we see, like at Martinsville with the 60% cautions and so forth. I think a lot of iRacers have actually shifted to this same racing style.
Well, I think there's some of that emulation of what they see on Sundays. Look, I think everybody will say whether it's in the Cup Series, the Truck Series, or even the O'Reilly Series, the racing has gotten definitely more physical, probably over the last, I'd probably say 6 to 7 years. Um, on the Cup side, it has just because there's the cars are so even. You've got to get everything you can on the restarts, but you know, it, I get where he's coming from. I'm still more of that mindset set that, I think we do need to try to, and it's not necessarily I'm trying to take care of somebody else. I'm trying to take care of my stuff. You take a late model race like he's talking about. You're in a 250 lap late model race. You got one set of tires. That's it. You're not changing tires. So you got to take care of your stuff. And I get that he wants to get to the front, and I appreciate it. That's why I like him. Again, he's exciting to watch. Um, but you're probably right. I think it's more. It's not so much just him. I just think it's what we see on the weekends, what you see on TV, and everybody thinks they're a hero and they're going to go ahead and they can get to the front and win the race in 1 or 2 laps.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that evolves. Next up, something big is coming. We got a tease here from Velocity Sim Racing, and they are showing off a big build they're doing. I counted maybe 3 dozen rigs in the little video that we got here, that they're building 3 dozen rigs or so, for a new sim lounge that apparently will be in Dallas, Texas.
It's a bunch of hardware. So let's jump right back up, Mike, because we did miss one, and this was the other post in regards to Max and Isaac and Connor. So this was an ex post from Ray Alfala, saying, as someone who started sim racing in 2003, it brings a tear to my eye to see some of the top drivers in the world are full on competitive sim racers. So actually, I think this is the video where Max and beats Connor's lap time, but you can see Connor's there, and you got Max and you got Isaac, but kind of same scenario. They're down in Miami, and they're going to end up turning laps. But look, I agree a lot with Ray here. Somebody who started sim racing, back in probably 1997. Not a child. I mean, I was in my 20s, but it does feel good to see that there is a little more respect, I think, for what we do. We were such a niche thing, and it's still niche in the world of gaming, but I do think there's a lot more understanding perhaps, and not just looked at it as, we're just a bunch of guys in the basement playing games.
That's right. It feels more mainstream when you get your world champion, Max involved, and literally every driver in the top of motorsports is involved in iRacing and sim racing. So you're right. I think it brings that legitimacy to it. So yeah, pretty cool. How about a link farm? iRacersResource.com.
Yeah, I got a forum post here from PJ Losi on the forums. It says, "Hey everyone, the original iRacing hub is back. This has been rebuilt from the ground up. Settings, paints, sleeves, live telemetry, race control, and everything in between. Um, so it's the website's iRacersResource.com. So it's a massive community-driven directory designed to be the central hub for everything in our ecosystem. So it gives you links to lots of different hardware, tools, setup shops, all kinds of stuff. I think I remember this being around years ago. So pretty lengthy thread. I've already bookmarked it, kind of looked around a little bit. Think you can, yeah, you can set up and log in, create an account. So just another good tool to kind of look at stuff, and see what's out there. I'm getting a little frustrated with the tone that the forum is becoming, as far as somebody tries to do something for the community and it's just immediate. A bunch of people just want to give everybody a bunch of grief. So that's a bit frustrating, but that hasn't changed in 20 years either.
So I think what you're referring to is shaming for AI coding of websites or apps. So people are literally shaming people because it's AI junk you built. You didn't program this. You didn't have this built professionally. You had AI build this, and therefore it's junk. That's the tone that I'm hearing in the forums on stuff like this. And it's probably true. He probably did build it with AI, but it doesn't mean he should have that kind of pushback, right? He's trying to help the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people would be surprised at how much AI is being used in coding in mainstream stuff and big companies too. So it's just what it is. Um, Look, I mean, we use it. I use it almost every day. I mean, my company is getting ready to launch an entire AI suite for us internally to use. So it ain't going away. Take advantage of it. I don't know how to code, and if I could use it to do something, absolutely, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, so pretty cool website. How about a shout out for ex Coke driver Caden Honeycutt this weekend?
Yep. At the cup at the Watkins Glen, he won the ARCA race, won the truck race, and then I think went to Ace Speedway and won both cars tour races, the pro late model and the I guess they just call them late models. I don't think they call them supers, but yeah. So yeah, shout out. Finally gets the breakthrough win in the truck series. He took over the 11 truck from Corey Heim last year. He's been close quite a few times, but yeah, good to see Caden get it. And I think still planning to do some Coke races and do, still planning to do some other stuff when he has time. But yeah, it's pretty neat to see somebody who we watched just a few years ago, running the Coke series. Another guy that's got the opportunity to win big.
Yeah, to not only compete in NASCAR, but to win, and finally break through and get that first win. I saw his post race interview. It looks like he's expecting them to continue now that he's broken through. Uh, he also shotgunned a beer pretty poorly, but he did it. That was pretty cool. But yeah, nice shout out to Caden Honeycutt. Well done.
Probably needs to get a hold of Larson's wife. She seems to know how to shotgun him pretty good.
Right, lesson or something, right? All right, next
So
up we
Mike's
had a report May 7th of web services having issues with stats and results retrieval. And then another report on the day after for those having issues opening the UI. Please see this FAQ. And so apparently they had some issues there.
Yeah, this is when I was on vacation, but I don't see much else from it, so it looks like they probably got it resolved. I mean, this stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, and I think the race servers are separate from the results and stats server, and so probably didn't affect the racing, but affected the stats. That's the way I read it.
I would hope so, because that would suck if to lose the race servers because something crashes on the results servers and stuff.
All right, next up is a mailbag. We got email from a listener here, and believe it or not, this wall of text I had uh, cut down quite a bit, but I'm going to read some of it here. Good morning, longtime listener and longer time sim racer. Enjoy the show and love the focus being on iRacing. Started my sim racing adventures back on the original Papyrus IndyCar and been what you'd call a hardcore sim racer ever since. Anyway, Time Attack. Over the past 2 years, I've come to believe that Time Attack is one of the most powerful and underused tools available on the service. My reason for this belief? Competition. Not the competition to win fast lap awards, but rather the utility to improve my own competitive edge by implementing the data available to my advantage. Beyond the more obvious advantage of seeing the line of the faster guys in a particular car track combo, I credited Time Attack directly for many improvements to my race performance directly to Time Attack. The most recent example of this is the Audi 80 I selected. I found a couple corners, but I was not sure about what gear I was using in a couple of the corners. Rather than using my precious time to test and run enough laps to gather data, I went to Time Attack, set the Time Attack race against option to go someone who's only third or fourth fastest on lap time, but had notably lower incident counts. I felt this would be better, et cetera, et cetera. Now, so he's able to basically, so I'm going to paraphrase, pull up because you can race against somebody else in the Time Attack, so you can see their ghosts. So he pulls up somebody else. He sees what gear they're in on a particular corner, so he can match it. That's that kind of thing. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, something I don't think I've ever used. I can hardly think of probably going into time attack maybe 4 or 5 times. Just I don't ever use it. Don't ever think about it.
Yeah, and then he goes on. I'll go a little bit longer. I used Time Attack whenever possible as a race prep for upcoming races. Having the ghost car of a real driver versus the AI as a rabbit to chase makes the practice time replicate a more authentic competition feel than just turning laps by myself. And so I've been talking about Time Attack recently, and I think that's what prompted this email. I've been using it for practice. Like I was getting ready for the Vintage Grand Prix Tour, and I would go into Time Attack and run the Lotus 79 at Spa, and I could pick that car that's a little faster than me and follow the ghost of it. And it did the same thing he's discussing here. So I encourage you, Brad, and everybody listening to go look at Time Attack, see what's in there, give it a shot, try the race against feature. That's really neat.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. So shout out to Michael Lanthrop for reaching out. So look, listeners, if you got ideas or something you want to us touch base on, you can either get a hold of us on Discord or you can even send an email as well. So we'd love to hear from you guys. And look, if it's you make an impact, we'll get on the show. And heck, let's somebody really makes a point, we'll reach out and we'll have you on the show.
That's right. It's iRacersLounge at gmail.com. Next up was our own Nürburgring 24 hours by the numbers. And wow, we had 18,928 driver entries over the weekend, turning 434,698 laps, smashing our previous record for the event.
you know, I know this number wise, this doesn't hit, some of the big ones, but look, I've never done this. I don't know if I ever will even attempt it. I very rarely do I get out there and turn laps at it, Mike. I know you do, but even you said, most of your races are, I guess, what, 4 or 5 laps, and you've
Three.
said the thought, okay, three. So the thought of having to do that for say an hour, um, which I don't know, what is it? I mean, 3 laps if they're what, what, 8 to 10 minutes? That's 30 minutes. So you're going to run what, 6 or 7 laps? You don't think you could do that?
I probably could force myself. Yeah, sure. But yeah, the other part that's kind of scary is there's no lights at this track and it's a 24-hour race. There's no city lights or nothing. It's like you're driving through the forest in the dark, dark, dark.
All right, so we got a forum post here. This is kind of buried in the 2026 Indy 500s thread, and it's from Nick Niebaum. And he says another Indy 500 fixed with 0x time of day and static sky. So even the Indy fixed Oval Series gets a 1x time of day. There's no way we should have this locked down to run the entire race at 12:30 in the afternoon. So I'm guessing this has been a problem in the past and it's still a problem.
That's well, he indicates that by the word of another Indy 500 fix. But look, I understand they need to have the weather fixed for the qualifying, the 4 laps of qualifying that is detached throughout the week, right? That makes sense. But for the race, I'm with Nick on this. There's no reason in the world we shouldn't have time of day rolling.
Yeah, that's just it's bizarre. And then if he even says even the Indy fixed oval series gets a 1x time a day. So I kind of skimmed through here and I really couldn't see where, unless you saw something, Mike, I never saw where this got addressed by anybody other
No.
than Nick.
Look, we hear from Nick Nebon sometimes, and he usually speaks, you know, uh, uh, the truth about a lot of stuff. And so when he posted, I certainly take notice. And he's obviously right. But no, I don't think it's been addressed. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. All right. Next is season 2, patch 4 release notes would come out. And what was the big one for this?
Not a whole lot, it's just some smaller stuff. You know, um, some
Apple
ins.
Vision Pro. Yeah, that was the big one. They had to,
Is that
there's
in
a new
here?
thing that will pop up asking you public or private access if you're using an NVIDIA GPU.
Yeah, that's it. That's I don't think I got that at all, and I use
I did get
an
it.
GPU. Did you get it?
Yep.
I don't think I did. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. So,
I hit allow
uh,
even though I don't have it.
um, race control fix an issue where the pace car could speed out of the pits at a realistic velocity to try to catch the pick up the wrong lead car. That could be an issue. Fix the ghost tow issue, where extremely rare circumstances could cause a driver who had been black flagged for a connection quality issue to potentially gain a lap on the field. That would be that wouldn't be a whole lot of fun. Race servers fix an issue where the host of a session using AI drivers could potentially connect to their session inside an AI vehicle. Wow, that'd be interesting. Kind of in their body experience there. Some user face stuff, but they did make some changes with Watkins Glen, adjusted some of the track limits in the bus stop entry, changing from 4 tires off, so 1X, half car, past the middle curb, left as a slowdown. And then they adjusted the inner loop track rules as well. So nothing real big there. Just a little fix there ahead of well, I guess coming into this last week for Watkins Glen.
All right. So next up, we have another resource website. So that last one was, I think it was iRacersResource.com, I believe. And that one you have to sign in to see everything and all this. This one is iRacingLinks.com. And it's much more easy to use. There's no sign in required. You just click it. There's categories, like spotters, for example. You click in, and then you see all the links for the different spotters.
Yeah, it was done by Garrett Hess. So very, very simple, very straightforward. He just says he's, just looking to do something simple. And I was kind of expecting somebody to give him grief that it doesn't look very good and that he, and blast him and tell him, why didn't you use the AI to help you code it? But another good one to bookmark, guys. It's some of the stuff you kind of scroll through and look, there was 2 or 3 things in here I saw that were new to me. So anytime we get things like this, I think it's good. It just continues to spread the community around, and I always look at it other options for different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up is our again Nick Nebon. This time he puts up a YouTube video. Really? Flow Racing as copyright claimed his video of iRacing dirt racing.
Yeah. So the accusation from Flow Racing, they claimed that again, one of the videos that he uploaded. Now he uploaded this video 3 years ago, or nearly 3 years ago. It was August of 2023, and this is just iRacing doing some virtual dirt late model racing. Um, the irony in this is that, as he calls it, it's the time travel irony. The video that Flow Racing claims was stolen is a highlight reel from April 11th of this year. I'm not sure what's going on there, and I'm guessing that probably most of this stuff is probably done by AI as well. Um, but yeah, haven't heard an update yet, but he is disputing it. Again, his video was posted nearly 3 years ago, and yes, the video game footage does look to be real life. It's at the same track, Lucas Oil Speedway. Um, but he does say that he attributes probably the errors to using the TV camera angle in the sim. He says, which might have triggered an automatic detection. So, because it does look very similar camera angle wise.
Yeah. Look, I mean, iRacing is supposed to look real. You're supposed to kind of just look, you take a glance and you can't tell the difference. And yeah, I think as we go forward and iRacing gets better, especially with their new graphics engine, it's going to be even harder to tell them apart. All right, what's this one? Twice a year, tighten them up.
Yeah, we got an Instagram post here. This is by Momentum Racing. So if you watch this, we've got a guy that's looks like he's running the it's either the Porsche Pickup or this may be the Porsche Cayman, the GT4 version. But he's at the Nurburgring, and he's in the middle of a race, and all of a sudden his seat collapses, just completely falls down, and
So his butt goes down,
butt
the
goes
back of the
down,
seat goes up over his head,
comes
actually.
forward. Yep. Yeah, he continues to try to race. He does well for a little while. Finally gets to the point where I think he tries to get back maybe up into the seat, and at that point he couldn't reach the pedals anymore. But yeah, I was having a little fun with this. Just look, something obviously failed here. And you've heard me say, look, about every 6 months, if you got a rig, you need to get the Allen key out, the hex wrench, whatever. Take a few minutes and go through and tighten up your stuff. You would be surprised at how loose things get over the course of a year, especially if you're running haptics. Anybody who's got motion, anything like that, that stuff it's just going to shake stuff loose. So. Had this guy listened to my advice, I bet you he'd have finished this race without the rig collapsing on him.
Yeah, he's never turned a wrench on that thing since he built it. Look, I commend him for keeping the car going on track, even though he had like a personal emergency there. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. Again, A for effort. But he finally got to the point where I think he says right there at the end he ended up breaking because he couldn't reach the pedals anymore.
Uh,
So Mike, do we need to send the scan team to Uzbekistan?
We do after Corey LaJoy put up a video of BMW sedans racing at this Uzbekistan NASCAR oval. And ironically, it's got banking on it too. And it looks like it's banking concrete.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Monza Oval. It's kind of what it looks like, but yeah, I've got a bunch of some older cars, but they're cooking. They're running clockwise, so that would be a little bit different for us. But no, it looks like could be fun.
It looks like a fun track to run for sure. The clockwise really throws me off. I was thinking maybe it's, you know, if you use the wrong side of your phone's camera and it looks like it's inverted. But I think you're right. They're actually running the track backwards from what we would normally do. Hey, I like it. The more ovals, the better. What about scanning cars? What cars should we scan next?
Yeah, so this is we got a video here from Red Bull Motorsports. This is it's Max Verstappen in the Super GT Pro. So he goes to Fuji, and this is I think it's a Nissan. But in Japan, they've got the Super GT series. So these are similar to a GT3 car, just kind of on steroids. More horsepower, more aero, super quick. But they look like they could be fun. I hate to be the one that's just like, hey, let's keep on adding more series. But these do look like they could be fun. But if you do take a minute to watch the video, you're gonna get even more impressed by Max as yeah, he's gonna become the goat. If he's not already the goat, he will be the goat.
He's my goat. Title idea. He's my goat. Uh, we have a forum post also from Maximilian Mayer, who basically formally requests iRacing to find this car and scan it and bring it to the sim, the GT500 and its sister GT300. He gives some good reasoning. Look, we're already in doing the Japanese motorsports thing with the Super Formula and the Super Formula Light. This would be a good way to round out that whole Japanese motorsports arena by adding these Super GT cars. And he gives a few different reasons why. But look, thing looks like a beast, man, and all the downforce and everything might be fun.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm sure it would be. Like I said, I don't not one to to constantly want to dilute stuff, but no, I'm sure there'd be a following for them. So, but I do suggest our listeners to watch a video if you didn't see this, because Wax goes over there and is gonna race this car, just doing laps, and they have a guy that I don't know what his name is, but he drives these things all the time, and it's raining in Fuji, and I think he sets like a 144 something lap time, and then Max goes out there and turns a 142 something, first time in the car, so that's why I said the goat.
Yeah, and I've been telling the team too that Justin Marks had said over the weekend that he's got a big surprise for his project car. And he kind of had that real sly grin, you know. So, and then I found out that Max has an off weekend over the San Diego race, and so you got to put two and two together here. I hope it happens.
I think that may be a stretch.
I mean, Red Bull's a sponsor of Justin Marks.
I know. I'm not saying it couldn't. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? I don't think so.
I don't know. I kind of feel like it is just because the way Max is jetting around trying different series. Like he just went to Fuji, for example, and I also had heard he's trying to arrange a supercar ride as well. He's trying to
He's
run the 12 hours of Bathurst. And then this
right.
weekend he's in the 24 hours of Nürburgring.
Yes, and he's probably because he's bored to death with that god awful F1 car and the configuration this year.
Right. So he's going to come to San Diego. I'm going to put money on it. So we'll see. Now, talking about money, Jaxer tells us, what does iRacing actually cost? Did we learn anything new here, Brad?
Um, I don't know if we learned anything new. The one thing that I think he did a really good job though is framing iRacing not as a game, but it as a service compared to a traditional video game. So a traditional video game, you're gonna spend I don't know, say $50, whatever it is, and you're gonna buy that year's version of the game. And then Next year, you're going to spend $50 because they're going to give you that year's version, and it may be cleaned up a little bit of stuff added to it, whatever it is. But with iRacing, you're paying for it. It's a service, so it's an ever changing. It is never complete. It's a continuous service. Um, I think of it like Netflix. You can think of it like any of your streaming services. You're paying for something to be there when you want to use it, and it's always there. But the beauty is it gets updated continually. Every 13 weeks we're going to get a new build. We're going to get new content. We're going to get updates to stuff. We're going to get improvements. All that stuff. He does a good job going through, explaining the subscription costs and all that. And again, we've been through this 100 times. Just the regular subscription for iRacing. Look, we've said this, it hasn't changed in years. The subscription price has not changed in years. Everything else in the world has gone up. iRacing has not changed. You can catch up, you can catch savings at Black Friday. New users can get some huge discounts to start. Remembering though that again, there's content and then there's ownership. There's basic content that comes in with the subscription. You can purchase additional content, but again, you're using that content. That's part of the service. You don't own it per se, but look, as I've said before, I was off the service for 7 years. When I signed back up, I reactivated my account. Guess what? Every single piece of content that I had was still there. Everything that I had, anything that had been updated and upgraded and all that stuff was all that was done. Didn't cost me anything when I got back on the service. So one of the things he does talk about is the why, and I think that's the thing that you got to figure out. Why do you want to iRace? If you just want to get in and just turn some laps and just have fun, then you know what? Maybe just a regular video game is for you. For me, I want to simulate racing. I raced in real life, and I can't do that. I can't afford it. It's just not. It's not probable. It's not really possible at all. So this is the closest thing I'm going to get to being able to race again, and that's what you need to understand. You know, is it the cheapest thing? No, but I enjoy it. A lot of us enjoy it, and to me, that's the ROIs, the enjoyment that I get out of this. When I come home after a long day, I can get on the rig, and I can escape from everything else that's going on for a couple hours. That to me makes it all worth it.
Yeah, and the part about the price never changing. Name me any other company over the last 14 years that hasn't raised their price. I mean, and you got to understand the value of that. There's a reason. Look, iRacing is not in the business to make money. They're in the business to put out their product. Why do they charge? They got to cover their cost. They got to pay their people. They got to pay the electric bill. They got to pay Amazon for the server space. So there's cost and there's revenue to cover the cost. Now, why haven't we had an increase? Because they're not trying to make money. You got to remember how iRacing started. It was totally funded by a millionaire guy, John Henry, who owns the Chicago White Sox. Or is it? Yeah, is that right? Boston
Boston,
White Sox.
Boston Red Sox.
Boston Red Sox. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he owns a football team and so forth. And so he funded this until it really took off, and now the company is self-funding. Like they have enough subscribers at 250,000 that they're making enough money that they can keep building and keep growing and making this happen without increasing our price. And so I look at it from that point of view. What a value. I mean, if this was any other company in the world, we'd be paying triple what we're paying.
Yeah, and look, they've stayed with that model. And look, iRacing's making money. They're making a profit, and they should. Any business that puts out a service should be able to make money. I have no issue with that. And guess what? If iRacing tomorrow said, "Hey, we're increasing our subscription cost," okay, I'll pay it.
I'd have no
It's
problem with it. Yeah.
I have no problem whatsoever. I mean, look, every 6 months, I'm gonna, my Verizon bill's going up, which you and I need to talk about that, by the way. Uh, but whatever it is, if you got satellite radio, you're going to get that's going to go up. You know, Netflix, Amazon, all that stuff. So look, again, to me, the ROI is it just for my investment in this hobby, and that's what you have to look at it as. This is a hobby. I used to go play golf, country club membership. Guess what? I don't play golf anymore. I don't have a country club membership. I want to sim race. That's what I'm going to do. So to me, this is my hobby. This is no different than playing golf, going bowling, hunting, any of that stuff.
All right, let's talk Indy 500. We had the fixed over this last weekend. I believe the Open is coming up this weekend. And iRacing put out a nice little tweet with a .001 at the line side by side photo finish in one of the splits. Kind of cool to see that. Looking at other chatter on the forums about the Indy 500 fixed was the set was garbage. Tight, tight, tight. I think people were saying it was the exact same set from last year's Indy 500 fix. Like they didn't even update the setup to be the current fix setup. Is what I think I read.
Yeah, I don't run it. I think I mean, I think I may have tried probably 12 years ago or something to run it. You know, completely different version of the car. I don't even own it, but yeah, just not my thing. But yeah, it's pretty neat though. That's a you watch the video and you see that close finish. That's very close. So the other thing I think is odd, and I look, I Memorial Day came somewhat early, almost a week early this year. I did see some chatter about having the fixed on Mother's Day. So that's may have not have caused a lot of guys to have some issues too.
Well, remember we didn't have an Indy 500 for a while due to licensing issues, and then it was fixed. And because it was fixed late in the spring, I think they had the open and fixed on the same weekend actually. But this year they've split them into separate weekends. We had the fixed last weekend, open this weekend. But
Yeah, and like I said, Memorial Day is the holiday is almost a week early. It's usually right at the very end of May. So again, that typically we don't have Mother's Day, skip a weekend, and then roll right into Memorial Day. There's usually a two weekends in the middle there.
all right, next up is one of the most amazing videos I think I've seen about sim racing, Brad. We have UK OG Racing on Instagram put up a video of him just driving along down the front straight there at Spa in his car. And what does he see up ahead of him? Well, he sees another car, but as he gets up to him, that car is actually racing or driving backwards in reverse through the corners at Spa. And he's doing a pretty dang good job of keeping it on the track. Have you ever tried to drive in reverse and get around a corner?
No, no, not not in the sim, not intentionally. No, I guess maybe I'll have to try it, but no, I've never tried it.
Mad skill. That's all I have to say is that takes mad skill without having to spin that baby out.
So, Mike, what have you? We got a video here from Dan Suzuki. This is him racing, and his shifter paddle stopped working on his steering wheel. What did he end up doing?
Well, it's amazing. Just like the other guy with the broken seat, he doesn't stop the race. He literally swaps wheels quickly. He has obviously a very good quick release where he's able to do that. He had another wheel within range, within reach that he could reach over and get, and he basically, pulled off the one wheel, put on the other, and it fixed the problem. Oh, he did stop the car briefly to do it.
Yeah, he stops right in the middle of the track, dude. That's the thing. He didn't even get off the line.
Maybe he looked into relative and hey, I got time to stop. But you're right, he did stop right on the race line.
So, the other thing he's kind of giving a shout out here is to the control mapper that's built into Sim Hub. I've looked into this, and I need to probably take a deeper look into it. Sim Hub offers a complete other system as far as to map all kinds of buttons that make things very easy. Especially like if you swap a lot of wheels, so that you can, regardless of what car you're going to use, you can map everything to where it's going to, since it's a different wheel, to make it actually a little bit easier. So, but shout out to that, and then shout out to SimHub as well. But yeah, I don't know what I would do because I've only got one Formula wheel, and if the shifter stopped working, I'm done.
Well, you don't have QR, right? You're pulling the pin out.
I'm pulling the pin out. Yeah, we're in trouble.
Right. Yeah, turn the wheel over, tap on the top of it till it falls off. All right, so let's talk Coke racing a little bit. Look, in previous years, Brad, I would have put up every little social media announcement about the team recruiting a certain driver and the announcement, this and that. But it just doesn't feel right this year. It just feels ugly to me. And I'm not the only one. I see other people out on Twitter and other social media talking about this. And here's one example of this that I found. We have at Kin TV post up. It's insane how the current Coke free agency period is set up. The amount of signings I see at the opening of free agency is just outright ridiculous. It's very clear that drivers and teams who are talking and agreeing to terms before the free agency starts and leaving drivers who don't have these type of connections out to dry. It's very clearly a popularity contest. We've seen the same thing happen both this year and last, and it ends up leaving promising new names teamless. Hopefully, eNASCAR and iRacing can find a fix, get rid of these loopholes because promising young drivers are leaving the service due to things like this.
Yeah, we talked about this last year. I think if you go back to the Peak Series, there weren't NASCAR teams involved in this, and I think this is probably a fault of what happened after COVID. And when all of the Cup teams, got into this, you still have some that are in it now. I mean, me personally, I would love to see it honestly just go back to the way it used to be. Those guys
Race your way
compete,
in.
race your way in. But it's like anything else. I mean, there's teams that are involved in this. There's money to be made, and I get it. It's just, but I think he's spot on. It's turned into a popularity contest. I've seen some posts and stuff, but I mean, and you can kind of look down. Um, if you just if you search X, you'll see all kinds of posts. But yeah, like you, Mike, I didn't really pay attention to it because, um, like he says, there's a lot of guys that probably really deserve a good opportunity, and they're not going to get it. So I don't know what you do to fix it. I just don't think this is the right way to do it either. Um, they've tried it. This is, I think, the second year with the free agency, and I don't think it works again. To me, it's made the entire watching it somewhat off-putting. It's just, yeah, they need to do something because this isn't good.
It's just rubbing us the fans the wrong way. It's just the way it's done. Look, you can't take an extra X amount of drivers and not give them and say, hey, you made it past the qualifying series, but guess what? No team picked you, so you're screwed. They need to not have that group of people that get left out. They need to redo the system so nobody gets left out. You race your way in. If you race your way in, you're going to get a team no matter what.
I mean, if you're gonna do 40 drivers, then I don't know, maybe the top 15 secure their spot, and then the other people race for the other 25 spots, and those 40 people, whoever make it, if it's 40 people, those 40 people are guaranteed a spot. But it shouldn't be 52 guys to where you got 12 that are gonna get left out. It's the same thing that happened last year. It's just yeah, it's broken.
All right, let's talk Sim Gaming Expo mid September. Lots of announcements. We had Black Beach Studio, Iron Rebellion announced as an exhibitor. Um, and so, not sure exactly what they do. They're a VR mech combat sim build using tactical piloting. Pretty cool. Then Elevate Your Hobby, another exhibitor announcement called Elevate Your Hobby, a designed in Canada and built for hobbyists who care about their setup. Elevate Your Hobby creates premium hobby gear engineered for real world use.
Light gears, what they do.
And then SimLab, yay! One of our favorites. Richard over at SimLab and his team are going to be there as an exhibitor as well.
Yeah,
Then
they're
we,
a platinum sponsor, so something they did last year.
very good. And then another special guest announcement, Happy Planes, I believe is a flight streamer. And then Midwest Simulations is going to show up. I believe they're a configuration. They build the rigs and stuff and resell them. Then finally, Stern Pinball.
Yeah, they were there last year too, so pretty neat. So Sim Racing Expo, 1 week, guys. So this will kick off Friday, May 24th. So the podcast comes out Friday morning, the 15th. We're a week out. So just a reminder, we got the golden ticket. I think this may have ended as far as when they were available. You can double check there. But we did get a couple announcements this week. BDH Race Sim Hardware is going to be there. So that's the super expensive shifters. But looking to be able to see
I
those.
want you to try the active shifter and report back.
Yeah, I'm gonna try a bunch of stuff and then try to take notes and get the wife to try to do a bunch of videoing while I'm there, so can kind of bring back some of that to you guys. So we did get the schedule for each day, so that was got Instagram post on here. So you got the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. This is the stage schedule. So this is guest speakers and whatnot. So pretty neat. Quite a few NASCAR guys are going to be there doing some talk. We've talked about all of them. We've got VRX simulators is going to be there as well. So this is another one of the big high-end simulators. These look crazy good, big.
New to me. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with this company, but yeah, they have a really good looking stuff.
And then SimCraft's going to be there as well. So SimCraft does some nice stuff. We saw their stuff at Chicago. So yeah, looking forward to it. I'll be there Thursday afternoonish and then all day Saturday. So looking forward to it. Wife is super excited, or so she tells me.
All right, she's gonna love it.
I
Other
hope so.
events, Indy 500 Open, as we talked about, is over the weekend. Qualifying is open now. I think our buddy Chris Waldron is planning on running. Maybe somebody else, but I'm not. I just haven't had time to prep. And this week in iRacing, did we miss anything else?
Just to highlight a couple of the special daily racing series. We got still got the FIA F4 regional tours are going on. So remember that's the Americas, Asia, Pacific, Europe, and then also the Challenge series, and then along with that the GT3 regional tours as well. So again, Americas, Asian, Pacific, and then Mike, your favorite car looks like it, or is it the Audi G90 GTO? Is
Yeah,
that your car? All right, so that's at the Ringmeister this week, and I think when we get to results, I think you've had a good week already, haven't you?
I have. We'll just say I've won 4 out of 6 starts.
Nice. So find something to race this week, guys.
Podcast housekeeping, leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Get involved in the Discord. Look, I had a guy reach out. Mike, I bought this Moza R21 Ultra wheel. I can't make it work. I'm about ready to throw it in the garbage. What did I do? I went to our Discord, to the lounge. I put out the call for help. And sure enough, within an hour or so, one of our listeners came in with the save. He gave us a screenshot of his settings, had do this, and that. I forwarded it on to the iRacer guy, and guess what? It fixed the problem. And so huge shout out to our community and the support for our listeners. If you guys have problems, man, reach out, man. That's what we're here for. Don't forget our website, iRacersLounge.com, of course, for show notes. We're in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network, and get your merchandise at iRacersLounge.shop. Fantasy Glenn, what do we think?
SVG dominance again. So, I mean, I
Surprise!
didn't expect any different, to be honest with you. Unless he wrecks the car, I think he's pretty much gonna take the W every time. Outside of Coda seems to be his only kryptonite, but um, yeah, no, I mean we talked about it quite a bit in the chat. I mean, somewhat ho hum Watkins Glen race, very early in the year. Made some changes with tire limit with track limits. Put some tire packs on the exit of turn one, and then they added a tire wall on the exit of the carousel. So which nobody seemed to really have an issue with the track limits. I probably think it made the racing better, kept everybody fun a little bit more. You didn't have guys running 6 lanes out in turn one. So I think it did make the racing better, especially in turn one. But yeah, so strategy kind of played out, and a later race pit stop. I think when Joey Logano lost the tire and forced everybody to guys to pit road, and they decided to stretch it. Um, Shane went ahead on older tires, jumped out to a lead, and then ended up pitting. And I'm sure everybody knows drove back from a 29-second deficit to take the lead and then to win by 7 seconds. So really shouldn't be surprised. He's that good. Just plain and simple.
I think the discussion this week was really about not is he the goat, but how much of it is he a goat? In other words, I think we David and I had a lively discussion about, well, how much faster is he than the rest of the field? And I think I got Chat GPT involved, and I started asking questions in AI, and I was surprised that Chat GPT actually knew information about fastest laps from Watkins Glen and who had what not laps and this and that, and was able to actually talk to me and intelligently to me about it. And the answer was really 2 tenths. He's got 2 tenths on the field.
I think he's probably got more than that. He's probably about. I think he's really honest. He's probably about a half a second quicker on new tires. And the biggest thing with him is he can make the tires last a long time. We saw that when they had the restart. He didn't pit. He was out there on 20 lap tires, and he still just moved away from them. So you never know what he's got. When you think he's probably pushing the car, he can turn it up another notch. So shout out to him. So when we look at how we did fantasy wise, with the win was JTC 11C with 238 points. Second was Redneck Racer 80. Tied for third, we had Vol 1977 and I'm Not a Professional. And then at three, tied for fifth, Fat Man Little Coat, I Race Too Slow, and then Res Dog. So Cup Series is points wise is off this coming week. They'll be at Dover for the ridiculous All Star race that I probably won't even watch. Um, but yeah, I don't know. They're going to put resin all over the track. They're going to take the tire dragging out and try to drag it, get some rubber down. Apparently, they're going to use the Cup tires for the tire dragging. So maybe that'll help. I don't know. Um, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in what it's going to be. It's Dover, and it's a concrete track, and I had to agree with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and a bunch of other guys that concrete's. I think he says what concrete's made for sidewalks, not for racetracks.
How can NASCAR just be so tone deaf on how stupid an idea this is? I mean, are they not even a race car fan? Even the obvious race car fans know this is dumb. But but here we are
Yeah, and we're going to run a 350 lap race at Dover. The
with all
last
the
year's
cars for an
yeah
all-star
last
race.
yes, and last year's points race was 400 laps. So we're going to run 50 less laps, and we're going to call it an all star race. So I don't know. Maybe we'll all be surprised, and it'll be fantastic, and we'll all be like, "Oh my gosh, we should have done this sooner." I guess that is possible, but as I said earlier, it's probably not very probable. So, taking a look at overall league standings as we roll out of Watkins Glen, and we're a third of the way through the season, and we're almost getting towards halfway through the regular season. We've got Cletus 45 in the lead with 26-23. Second is Connor Truman. Third, Dollar Cents. Fourth, Redneck Racer 80. Fifth is Canadrian. So nice job, guys.
Yeah, well done. Hardware software is always at the top of the list. Chad McNeese's Ultimate Hardware Spreadsheet. It is a link to a Google document, guys, where you can literally find every piece of sim racing equipment that's for sale with all kinds of information as well as price and link and everything. All the pertinent information you need to make buying decisions. You should definitely consult this first.
Yeah, it's good because he's got it broken down by tab. So if you need pedals, he's on. You go to the pedal tab, and it's going to have literally, virtually almost. It probably has every single pedal set that's available. If you're looking for steering wheel, if you're looking for haptics or whatever you're looking for, shifters, again, there's going to be a tab. It's going to have everything listed with links. And so, again, always give a shout out to Chad. And this thing will live here forever. It is a ever changing document. So if you haven't looked at it in a while and you're looking for something new, it's a good opportunity to see what you've been missing.
All right. So this first hardware story blew my mind when I saw this. I'm like, this can't be real. But what it shows, so it's not a sim steering wheel. It's a regular car steering wheel for like a high end car from a company called Zen Carbon Fiber. And so the wheel, as you can imagine, is made out of carbon fiber and it's got some grips and stuff. But Brad, he's got some kind of like a clamp that is clamped into the center part of the steering wheel, and it's attached to a little box. And then he whips out his iPhone with an app, and he's got a little color wheel on the app, and he starts pushing colors on the app on his phone, and it literally changes the color of the steering wheel, carbon fiber. He's changing it from pink to green to orange, any color you want. It's amazing how this works.
Yeah, so he's got it just it's connected to a battery, so it's just giving it power. So in the car would obviously have power of some sort, but yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, so if you've got listeners, you can imagine if you've got if you've got a Govee lights or if you've got an RGB, you've got RGB light at the house, and when you open up your phone, your app to it, you can do all kinds of colors. I mean, you've got the whole color palette there. You can change whatever it is to it, any kind of LED light, same way, except it's the steering wheel. It changes complete colors. So
The entire
very
wheel
cool.
itself, yeah, amazing. And so I take this to the next level, Brad. Integrate into SimHub or even Daniel Newman Racing. Oh, the yellow flag comes out. Your wheel starts flashing yellow.
No, no, no.
But look, we're always looking for a look. I got the black and the blue, and it'd be cool if I could just change my steering wheel blue.
I can't even imagine how much that thing costs. Hey, look, it's William. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello.
Let's talk ambient lighting tutorial next, Brad.
Yeah, so we got a video here from Third Wheel Exclusive. This is the guy that is building the Porsche pickup rig. He's built the dash and everything, but he's got a pretty decent tutorial here to kind of walk you through setting up ambient lights. He's using Govee bars. He's got four of them. He's also got these three custom light boxes that he's made using Arduino boards, and they're basic, almost like we'd see in an eye flag. They're like just very small lights. He uses those to try to give light, has them right over top where the driver would be. It kind of walks you through getting your light set up, sim hub configuration. Not a very lengthy video, but pretty informative. There's quite a few of these out there. He brings up some good points and kind of walks through The one thing he does is he's got the way he has his lights positioned. He has two directly over top, which would be him, and then he has two from behind, which is interesting. I have four lights myself. I have two over top, and I have one on each side. And I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the lights behind me, just because it's it's not a whole lot of light coming in the back of the car. Um, but it's okay. I did like the way, like I said, I like the way he kind of walks you through SimHub really quick. I did pick up a few things. I'm gonna try a couple of different settings in SimHub myself on some of the lighting settings. But yeah, so if this is something you're thinking about doing, this is a good watch. There's some other ones out there if you search as well, but this is pretty updated. You know, the one thing he did say, and the way he had his lights positions, he had it positioned on the rig. What you want to try to avoid is to have a lot of you don't want light pollution. So what you want to try to avoid is to have your lights to where they're going to shine on the screen and it will actually brighten up your screen. You want to try to stay away from that. I had that when I first installed mine until I ended up buying diffusers. So that directs the light straight down on me as opposed to out, just kind of having it bloom. So that's just a good suggestion as you get things set up, just to try. This is one of those little fine tuning details, but yeah, actually a pretty good video.
Yeah, one thing that I caught on was when you're setting up ambient lighting in SimHub, you have to draw like a little square on the screen of where you want it to pick up the light from, basically. And so his approach was quite different than mine. And I think the difference is he's driving a very particular car and he never switches, right? And so he can dial it in very specific for that specific car. But me jumping from car to car to car to car, I got to have mine a little more general, you
No,
know?
you don't. No, you don't. You can
You
do
can set
specific.
SimHub up pretty
Oh,
Yes,
exact.
really?
yes.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, mine is set up. I have different profiles for every car. So
Yeah.
yes, it's
Ooh, I didn't know
beautiful.
that.
Yes, it'll automatically load them. You assign it. It's fantastic. It's
Yep.
it's absolutely fantastic.
All right, that's what I'm going to be doing tonight is figuring that out because I've kept it a real wide open box that goes all the way across the dash, basically. So it'll always work, no matter what I'm in. But I saw him like, okay, I'm gonna make a little tiny box. I'm gonna put it on the side of the left mirror or something.
Yeah, so like I've got my side ones, I've got on like let's think about the cup car, on the roll bar on the passenger side of roll bar. I just have a little dot on the left side. I've got it on the roll bar, and I've also got it right on the door panel itself. The dash ones are there, and again, he uses I think 61 by 85 for the size. I actually use 85 by 85, so I even go smaller because I really want to be able to concentrate on just small things. But yeah, if you need help, Mike, let me know. But yeah, you can set up individual profiles. You can save the car, assign to the car. SimHub, I'm telling you, for like, I don't know, what does a pro license cost? 10,
I think
15 bucks or something?
15, yeah.
It's the best money you will ever spend if you're going to run extra stuff through, for the game. It's SimHub is fantastic.
Look, ambient lighting is a great add-on to any rig because you have a rig in a room, you really want the lights down, you want the lights off, but you don't want it totally dark. And so the ambient lighting is kind of nice and it matches the race environment that you're in. And so, fairly low cost, you buy the lights once, like Brad said, maybe some diffusers, got to have a way to mount them. That's the hard part. And then the sim hub, 15 once and you're set.
Yeah, I mean, you take a track like I think like Motegi is a good example because you've got bridges you go underneath. It's really cool when you're in the sunlight and everything's bright, and then when you go underneath the bridge, everything goes dark for a second, and then it brightens back up. It's very immersive. Or you go into a stretch where you've got trees, and the sun is shining as you're running down, and then you hit the trees, and the light goes out because the trees are blocking the sun. So it's just again, it's very it's another immersion factor. Doesn't make any quicker. It doesn't do any of that stuff. This is strictly immersion.
And Chris Waldron, you jump in. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I'm enjoying this talk about ambient lighting. I'm sitting here with my $10 black light looking like a purple people eater in the camera. But I like it. I've got some fluorescent stickers I got off Etsy on my wheel, and it makes those glow. So I enjoy mine, even though I look like a dork.
Is that like a budget ambient lighting?
It's something that it's semi-functional too because I have the stickers on the wheel that are day glow, so they're actually fluorescent stickers that are made to glow with the black light, so it functions with that. But it gives me just the right amount of light to see things. But like you said, Mike, you want it dark when you're down here racing. You don't want, especially I'm in the basement. I got a bunch of lights down here. You don't want it looking like a stadium down here while you're racing.
All right, William, how about random call sign talking about SimNet pedals?
Yep. He does about a 25-minute video. Simnet pedals there again. Chinese Houstonville Sprints is what they really look like. But for $219, you get the two pedal set, and then if you get everything together, the base plate, the reactors, all that good stuff, go up to like $500. He has some pretty good things to say about them, especially for the price point. Especially also the reactors on there. They're very comparable to the Magic ones, if anybody has run those. They're not like a vibrate, they're actually like a puck in the transducer that goes back and forth. It gives you a little bit of a harder vibration point on there. That's what I run, and they're fantastic. Yeah, another option. And oh, also, it is one of the selling points for this is if you're still on the company that we don't really talk about anymore, if you're still on their platform, it'll work directly with the connection into the Fanatec wheelbase.
Yeah, these are
Yeah, I mean,
dime a dozen. These Chinese companies, Simpson and now SimNet, they basically have the same stuff.
yeah, I mean, he did say comparing him to like The Simpsons, as far as the quality is a little bit better. Not
A
quite
little
as
bit,
many
yeah.
sharp edges. A little bit. The pedal faces work ground a little bit better. I think they're powder coated. They look good. I mean, but look, they literally are. I mean, he's holding them and looking them. He's turning them around, and I'm like, "God, they might as well have just taken and completely copied the Husenfelds. I mean, that's literally
Yeah.
what they did. Cheaper materials, but I don't know. I mean, it's look, the design is flawless, and that's why the Husenfelds just are so good. Um, I would just I'd rather give the money to the people that actually spent the time and did it the right way. That's just me.
Buy USA, right? Or something along those lines.
Well, they're not USA, but again, they're the ones that created it. So
Right.
that's my thing.
Yeah. All right, pretty cool little review. Next up I got is too slow. We have a report from GameSpot saying Microsoft admits Windows 11 has become too slow for gaming. It says Microsoft is rolling out a new initiative called Windows K2, aiming to bridge the performance gap between Windows and Steam OS in the next 2 years. So, what does this mean? Are we going to have a different kind of operating system to be able to potentially use with iRacing called Windows K2?
No, it's the title's a little clickbaity. It's basically, and it is because SteamOS has come out and shown some really good efficiency, but it's basically Windows has taken a lot of the bloatware that they started to include in Windows over the past few years. They're taking it out, stripping down to a version of Windows that's not running all that crap in the background. I mean, it's going
Like
to help gaming, it is, but I
like
don't think they actually came up with the version.
OneDrive integration or Copilot, all that garbage?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what's coming out. I think Copilot was named. But I don't remember exactly what they were working on. But yeah, it's coming.
And look, that's why I've always built my own PCs. When I load Windows, I load it and then I start taking everything back out. I mean, it's just I'm not. I'm using this for gaming. This is the only thing I use it for. This and the podcast. That's it. I don't need anything else running on it. So I get rid of all the bloatware and crap. It's just I've always done that.
And I highly recommend finding a way to install without the Microsoft account. There is ways of doing that where you can set it up under a local user and not have that whole Microsoft account crap and OneDrive crap. Okay, Brad, we got BB 2.2 Cup.
Yep, this is from eplabsimracing.com. So Instagram post. We've seen some of their stuff before. They look like they've kind of upgraded this a little bit. So this is to mimic the button box and the brake bias that's in the Porsche Peak. I think it's in the Porsche Cup car. This version looks like it's got that forged carbon fiber. Um, you got 8 buttons there. So really, if you're trying to kind of mimic a specific car, I think, like I said, I think this is modeled after the Porsche pickup. Uh, Again, if you're going for a certain look, it's good. I do like um, the brake bias just for the simple fact that it's very easy to think. You turn it forward, it's dialing in front brake bias. If you turn it back, you're dialing in rear brake bias. So that to
I
me,
love
that's a
that too. Instead of
yeah. I
left
mean,
or
that,
right, right?
yeah, yeah. That's fantastic. I do like that idea quite a bit.
The only other thing is you reach over for that knob, front or rear, the plug-in cable's like literally right below it, and you'd think your hand would kind of, hit the cable, or the cable might be too close to the knob. I don't know. I just don't like the placement of the cable. Ooh, I got this one. Spend Mike's money. Okay. So look, I told you all, if it's good enough for Tony Stewart, it's good enough for me. And we know that Tony is wearing a cooling vest now when he does sim racing. And I found one that I kind of liked. I got a video here from Alpha Cool Products. It's a motorcycle circulating cooling vest system.
helping you operate your Alpha Cool
So, what do you guys think when you saw this? Is this okay?
No, it's not okay.
circulatory vest.
Not wearing.
End of the extension tubing with the
I mean, it's
matching
got the little
connectors on your
tubing.
cooler.
It's got a little
Then
pump. You hook up the little tubes when you sit down in your rig. There's input, output. You turn on the little battery pack for the pump. You're good to go.
I have my fan. That's all I need is my fan. That's it.
Uh,
And if I get
Now,
really hot, I'll grab another fan.
now, Brad, aren't you a chronic sweater? Aren't you like the chronic sweater on the team? Like, wouldn't this
I,
be right up
I
your alley?
yes, but I'm not doing it. I'm not not for $500. Absolutely not.
Well, look, there's cheaper options, but those cheaper options involve having ice packs in your freezer and then inserting them into your vest and all this nonsense. I like this
You
because
could
it's all plug and play. You just sit down, you plug it in, you push a button, you're good.
you could do the Richard Petty and just put the ice towel in your mouth, call it good.
All right, still looking for ideas, listeners. Something a little cheaper, but not ice packs.
Now, Mike, have you looked on like Timu or Alibaba or anything like that?
I haven't, but man,
Look, if that he does that, it'll fail, and then he'll get overheated. I mean, imagine what could happen to Mike in a 30-minute race at Nürburgring.
I just think this topic picked up next week after looking at Timu for like a part two would be interesting to see like the cheapest things out there we could find for knockoffs.
speaking of AliExpress, I think last week when you were gone, Brad, well, somebody bought that little blue lap timer thing from AliExpress, and I'm like, okay,
Oh,
you just spent Brad's
yeah.
money.
I know. Look, I've got it bookmarked, and I came close to snagging it the other day, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So don't give me any more ideas.
All right. What do you think, Chris, about the next one, the Driven Dynamics DDX Precision?
That looks like a boatload of money.
That's
Yes,
That's
but
my
cheap
first
though
thought.
compared to their other stuff.
yeah, but it's on sale. It's $10,000 off, Chris. Come on.
Oh, geez. Well, maybe I'll jump on that. Gosh, I think that's more than the value that we got our house at.
Look, we talked about this before that Driven Dynamics has a new product. They are going to showcase it next week at the Sim Racing Expo. I hope Brad gets a chance to try it. It's called the Precision. It's $80,500. 80,000. But I think their other ones were like at 150 at least.
I remember it was a couple of years ago. I remember we covered Max Verstappen talking about motion in your sim rig and how you actually lose speed. So I wouldn't want to get something, spend 80 grand on it, and lose speed for what I'm doing. So I'll stick with the stationary on this.
You got to wait till you try it, though. I mean, until you get
So
into one of these
Mo-
things.
motion done well is good, and we got in some good rigs in Chicago. I'm looking forward to trying some next week, but it's done the right way. Motion is very immersive. Again, it's like haptics. I don't think haptics make any quicker. I don't know if motion necessarily makes you any quicker. Again, it's more about immersion.
there's a guy. It's nerdy as all get out. His name is Project Simstar, and he's on all everything. And he's got a motion rig, but it's for like a spaceship. And I actually sent him the information to go to the expo, and I guess George sent him something. The guy got invited, so I don't know if he's bringing his like spaceship simulator, but it kind of looks like that. It's on the hydraulics. He's moving all over, so it looks kind of neat for that. But I wouldn't hit Daytona with it by no means.
All right, William, you got to take this one. We got a new wheel coming by VPG. What are your favorites?
Well, that's really all we got, though. It's going to be revealed on May 22nd, and all we've got is the silhouette in the Instagram post. So I guess, what is that going to be? A week? We'll find out what it is.
Yeah, I think they're debuting it at the expo.
Yeah.
So they have very good wheels. We kind of like those. So I expect the best. Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
crazy.
they debuted the I think they debuted the Porsche wheel at the Chicago last year too, Mike, if I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. The Porsche Cup wheel.
All right, so we'll stay tuned for that one. Brad Lawrence de Soswa.
Yeah, he's got a review of the Simpson H pattern shifter. We talked about this, I think, probably the last show. Typical review from Lawrence. We talked about this before. It's $120. You know, this is very low end. Um, like I said the last time, this works, but this is not new tech. It's very old tech. This reminds me of I think the Thrustmaster TH8 shifter. You got the gate that you got to change it from H pattern to sequential, but it's $120. I mean, again, if you're looking for something like that, and this is probably up your alley, but I'll pass.
Yeah, he also went on to say it is a good value, one of the best value shifters in racing. The SHH shifter, which is a kind of a 3D printed one, it actually offers a better mechanical feel and easier switching, while the Simpson wins out on the build materials, the aesthetics, and the addition of a couple of the buttons. And he went on to say, like, if you could combine the two, like have the feel of the SHH and the packaging of the Simpson, it'd be perfect. But yeah, for 120 for a H pattern and sequential, that is dirt cheap.
Again, just remember to switch between the two. You've got to get an Allen key out and take the plate off, and take the shifter knob off, and do all that stuff. I did it forever with the Thrustmaster TH8 I had, and yeah, I'm good.
Right. Next up is a listener, John, let us know on our Discord about this Facebook post by Bixby Moto, where they have put in to the NRG Ultra seat, which happens to be the seat I have, into the little seat belt holes above the shoulders, two speakers for sound. And if you don't have seat belts, what a unique idea to use those holes. It looks like they made some like custom mounted 3D printed speaker mount that fits the seatbelt hole perfectly. And what a neat place to have sound coming from, like right behind your neck on either side. And then apparently in the comments of this thread, someone else has said, hey, let's put fans in there instead of speakers, like a small computer fan. And I'm thinking, ooh, that's even a better idea. But I have seatbelts, so I can't do it.
We'd hate for you to fall out of your rig, Mike.
right? But brilliant idea. I love the out of the box thinking. If you don't have seat belts, maybe you want to try this.
All right, we got a post here from Overtake GG. This is a hardware post about Revo Sim. Announces Aston Martin F1 gear is supposed to launch with different accessories. So Nikon sim racing hardware brand RevoSim has announced a partnership with Aston Martin F1 team and launching a branded customization kit for its RS Pure steering wheel. So I don't know how much this actually looks like the actual.
It
Probably,
doesn't.
yeah, I was gonna say it probably doesn't, but if you're, if you're an Aston Martin fan, you can have it branded. Yeah, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, there's a few of these companies that have kind of popped up where they come out with a whole ecosystem of sim gear that looks just like other people's sim gear. Like it's probably the same stuff, just rebranded.
That's all it is. It has the Aston Martin branding on their stuff they already got out.
That's what you're paying for.
All right, William, we got a F1 style dashboard.
Oh. Yeah, G'd SRD on Instagram. A little video of a small DDU. It's I guess supposed to match an F1 car. I don't know that I've seen one that has that particular style. But I guess I guess it might be good for the F1 games if you play those. I never have, so I couldn't tell you. I know the Mercedes F1 car on iRacing's not that popular, so I'm not sure how much people are going to get used out of this, but it's pretty cool if you do use those particular cars.
Yeah, he's got a little shop now, and he's this is obviously a custom DDU that he's put together, but he's got a Williams F1 wheel, like a replica, Williams wheel, and got a replica Mercedes wheel and different things. So just kind of a neat follow on the Instagram called Geed GEED underscore SRD. And another new one here, Brad, the V throttle simulator.
Yeah, V Throttle Pro Series. So it comes in 3 configurations. So you can get this powered with industry leading motion systems, whether it be Vero, Sigma, Integral, or D-Box. So, I mean, it's not bad looking. It's your typical 80/20. Doesn't have the channels on the bait on the frame side, so I'm not a fan of that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Most everybody's almost looks the same now.
It does. Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on them and see what's happening. Let's do one more before we go to results. Surprisingly, Apple, with their new CEO, announced they are no longer building for the Vision Pro headset this week. And in the same week, another announcement from iRacing that they're thrilled to announce the iRacing Connect app for the Apple Vision Pro is now available on the App Store. This app facilitates connections between iRacing and the Apple Vision Pro. And so that I thought it was ironic that they, discontinued support on it and they're no longer selling it at the same time that iRacing starts supporting it. But
Well,
we also go ahead.
I think when that announcement was made, I think I made a comment. This was like the iRacing, scan the track curse. iRacing finally scans the track, and then the next year they announced we're going to repave.
Right.
It was very similar.
And then I found a video. Now, look, there's at least 2 people I found that have one of these Apple Vision Pros that are on iRacing. There was a guy on Twitter who was interacting with Steve Myers who said he loved it. And there's this guy who put up a YouTube video, District Racing Squad. In his video, he gives a first look at this iRacing app on the Apple Vision Pro, how easy it was to set up, the hand tracking. What was kind of neat is it shows his real hands on his virtual wheel. Um,
Which looked horrible.
but
Looked
other than
complete. I
that,
would be so distracted. Did you see it, William?
No, I didn't.
It's like a 2-minute video, man. If you just jump in there and you skip ahead to where he's in the car,
Using the
you can
F4
see his
steering wheel here
gloves,
that I
man.
decided
They're
to
cutting in
drive
and
around
out.
VIR.
I hope that this is like the initial settings and you can get it to look better, because that would be completely distracting.
Yeah, the hands are kind of
Yeah,
flashing, and yeah.
I don't think I'll ever have $3,500 to spend on the Apple Vision Pro, so am not too interested in this one.
My concern is, look, if there's 2 people that have this and iRacing created it, the guys that are screaming for Linux are probably so pissed off right now.
Right.
Guys screaming for a lot of things, I think.
All right. So we put a bow on the Apple Vision Pro. Now let's move on to results and talk results. We got 2 weeks worth here, guys. So Friday Open NIS, David Hall, P5. Wow, finally got a top 5. We had a long run near the end. I was terrible beginning of the race, but car came to me. On the long run, moved from about 24th to somewhere in the top 10. Saved the last of the adjustments and the PRS notes for the short run at the end, and was able to make a couple of passes and hold on to 5th. Brad, P8.
Yeah, started 4th. Ran at the front all the race. Even drove up as high as P2. Um, but I did not keep up with the changes I needed to make in the notes. I just didn't. I should have. I felt like I was okay, and track kept changing, and I didn't keep up with it at all. So we had a very long green flag run. I was in the same race as David, so he was able to drive on up. I ran way too hard early in that run, just trying to get track position. Was really falling pretty quickly, and then we ended up with a late race caution that kind of saved me. Was able to throw some tires on there, got back up to P8, but I only had one shot at Texas before we left for vacation, so I was happy to walk away with the P8, because before that yellow came out, I was probably going to be about probably about 13th or 14th. I was literally just falling like a rock.
Then Sunday Open, David P10 had 16x by the last 40 laps. Lap 1 got 4x from a blinker appearing in my hood, then 3 wrecks right in front of me. Again, was slow at the beginning of the race, was able to really go on the last run with the final adjustment. Kyle, Hindegraf, P10. Started P6, ran top 5 for 80% of the race, and even led some laps. About 100 laps in, we had back-to-back cautions, and I screwed myself by not pitting the first time and pitting on the second caution, getting trapped in mid-pack. Drove up towards the front, was set for a top 5 finish with 8 to go. We get a caution, and I get speeding in the pits. Luckily, a quick caution came, and I drove up to the top 20, green-white checker on the final for a big wreck right in front of me, and I dived down next to the inside wall to avoid the wreck, coming out with a P10. Thanks for David for coming in and spotting at the end of the race. Then I ran Sunday fixed NIS at Texas, DNF. There were a lot of early cautions. I missed all those. I was running pretty clean. But we eventually got into a fuel window. Thought I needed to get fuel in case, and it went green from there. And that put me in the back with the garbage. And then from there was a big wreck, and I couldn't miss it. I had about 7 minutes damage. I decided to park it. Kyle, P20, started P18. Survived lap 1, turn 1, but got collected by a spun car who wouldn't hold their brake and rolled backwards. And the carousel giving me the wheel damage of 6 minutes. Spent the next 42 laps trying to survive. Not how I wanted to spend my only race of the week to ride around. Had a top 5 speed and consistency, but stuck 6 laps down. Wednesday Open at Watkins Glen. David Pimax logs out at the beginning of the race, so I come back 2 laps down only to get intentionally wrecked by P24 because he didn't like that I passed him clean in the carousel. Thursday Open, Watkins, Chris Waldron, P5. Wrecked it early, speeding on pit road, cost myself the race. Sunday Open, David, car blows up entering turn 1 with a normal downshift. All right, and then Wednesday night we had the All-Star race in hosted. I got a P5. I forget the listener who won the race. We had 24 cars. It was Gen 7 at Charlotte. it was a good time. Thanks to everyone who showed up and ran with us. It was a good event. Moving on to Ringmeister. Okay. So first, finishing up the previous week, Delara IL-15, the Indy Next. I started 13th, worked my way forward, eventually got the lead right after the end. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I get it done in the first attempt of the week, win number 143. Then I tried for 2 in a row, started pole position, but wrecked out trying too hard at the carousel, stuffed it in the wall. Then start on pole again. Kept the lead the whole race, had a guy behind me between 4 and 6 seconds back, was able to hold the gap, racing real hard and take the win again, number 145. Started first, led every lap. One guy got to the back of me and net coated into the wall, and once he hit me after that, I went on to win again. This is number 3 out of 4 tries tonight. Then again, I started second this time, got to the lead on the final lap. Some guy tried to dive in there and took it. I pulled out enough. Okay, I don't get that one. Then on Tuesday, I ran again and start from the pole, ended up winning the race. That's 4 out of 6. Then I wrecked out on my own. Now, moving on to the next week, my favorite car, the Audi GTO 90. And guess what? Started second, um, led from turn 1, lap 1, winner, winner, chicken dinner. I also had the fastest lap of the race with a 6:54, a 20-second gap over the field. Very, very satisfying win to get it in my first attempt of the week at number 148. Then I started again, got away from the people, ended up making a mistake, going straight to the wall. DNF, my only non-win of the week, guys. Then I started second. First place shoved into the wall in the first corner. I took the lead, never looked back. 22-second gap again, number 149. Then I drove away from the field again. This time a 32-second gap to win number 150. Then Tuesday night, started first, had a guy stay with me most of the race. I was slowly gapping him. Eventually he wrecked, and I went on to win by a 31-second gap, win number 151. Then I tried again, top split, started third, got damaged before the start of the race when fourth wanted to race me to the line and put me in the wall. I continued on, but got wrecked at some point, DNF. Wow, what a mouthful. But can you believe that? I mean, 2 weeks of Ringmeister, I think I did 3 out of 4 wins and then 4 out of 6 wins. All right. Lotus 79 Grand Prix Tour. First start, DNF. I had a great start. I went from 13th to 8th, but go back to 10th was making little mistakes. I ended up spinning by myself a couple of times, and then I couldn't tell if I lost my mental focus or what, but around lap 12, I missed a few corners. Next thing you know, I was in the wall. This is Spa. Next start, started 13th, got up to 10th on the first lap. I was letting people go. And after that, I gradually worked my way up to running P5 from attrition until about lap 30 out of 45, where I went over a curb a little too much. It snapped sideways and dumped me to the wall. Ended up 11th out of 16. The final start, I'm in top split near the back, 2 of the 3 rows in the back of a 32 car field, standing start. The guy 1 row back, but on the inside, I'm on the outside. He jumps the start, goes caddy corner over into my lane and drives right over the top of me. Puts me in the wall. I don't even get to the start finish. Fun series, though. I'm looking forward to running it again. I think they start up next week. Grassroots racing. Wow, William, a couple of wins.
Yeah, it's been a pretty dismal season so far. So this was really good to get done. Well, 2 weeks and both leagues are in. First, they both did the same tracks. Last week we were at Spa. I qualified on the pole, fell to second. Rode there until the pit stops. Exiting the pits, the top 4 cars, like we were literally phased into each other coming out of the pits. I cycled to third because I lifted because I didn't know what was going to happen. Leader had an oops with about 3 to go, moved to second. New leader had some really terrible luck in traffic on the last lap. I was able to get a run going down the Kimmel Straight. Tried to pass him on the outside, a little bit of contact there, and he ended up spinning off. We looked at it and everybody agreed it was racing incident. I still wish it could have been done without that little bit of contact, but I could have left more room. He could have turned in a little bit more. But other than that, kept it together for us a lap and took it home P1. So like I said, been a long time coming this season. And then Tuesday night, Road Atlanta, my home track, best track on the service. But I typically don't have great luck here. I always tend to have problems. Qualified second, was able to get around to the lead. Like lap 15 with a fantastic pass coming out of the last lap. It was really good. I was able to cross him over going into the straight in the first turn. Second and third tangled behind me after that going into turn one, gave me some breathing room, stretched the lead out to about 3 seconds and just brought it home. So P1 back to back in grassroots.
We didn't.
Well done.
We didn't get on the script, but you guys ran the Mech Indy 4 hours. Looks like-
Yeah, I'll go over that after elbows out.
Okay.
Elbows out. Spa P4.
Yeah, elbows out. P4 at Spa. Qualified second. Rode there until the pit stop. First was fastest Gage Hyams. He runs in a few leagues with us that I run. He's super fast. Not sure I really had anything for him. I stayed with him for the first 10, 15 laps, but eventually he got out to about a second and a half on me. Less than optimal pit stop dropped me to fourth. I was really slow getting in, and then I didn't add enough fuel to my setup, so I had to pit. Sooner than a lot of people, it brought me out in some really bad traffic. Dropped me to fourth. That's where I stayed. Good race, but I think I could have had a better result there. And then last night, P2 at Road Atlanta. I qualified on the pole by over half a second. I love this place. I led the whole first stint. Lead got out to about 4 seconds, but by the time we went to the pits, it was down to 2 with traffic. A little slow into the pits, but nothing bad. However, on the exit, I got on the gas too fast in the rear end, started to come around. I had to completely lift, hit the brake, get off. So between that and the guy in second going into the pits a lap after I did, he came out right in front of me when I came back around. Normally, I could have gotten around him because he'd be on cold tires and wouldn't have anything for me, but LMP2 backmarker traffic got in the way for the first 2 laps. For both of us, didn't do anybody any favors. By that time, he was able to get heat in the tires. He spent the rest of the race just absolutely on his bumper. But every time I got a run, traffic would appear with an LMP2 or a GTP. He had a pretty bad move under braking going into 10 with about 15 minutes left. He apologized after the race. That's really the last serious chance I had with him. With about 2 to go, we both went off track trying to pass 2 lap GT3 cars that were fighting for position on the front straight. We both ended up making contact with him going into turn 1. I got half spun. He got a little bit of damage on his front. But really, that was it. It was about a second gap after that, and we just finished 1-2. And the moment I was happy with it, but now I kind of feel like I let it get away back to back. That'd have been 4 in a row. And like I said, after the seasons and leagues and officials I've had, I'm just glad to be getting some results now.
Woohoo! Nice to get those wins for sure.
Yeah. All right, and over the weekend, me and Will Weaver did Mech at Indy Road Course. Man, the track was blazing hot. It was miserable. We drove with McLaren. The Porsche was good, but I don't think either of us were super comfortable enough in it to actually send it in the Porsche. So we were in the McLaren. It was really hard to get on the gas out of any of the corner exits. I messed up on my first stint and put it in the wall. Got some wheel damage on the right rear. It didn't actually end up hurting us because we were in the pit window. Go in, use a fast repair. I mean, we lost like 30 seconds, but overall it could have been worse. And then we got a safety car in the perfect time to kind of help us get back up to the back of the field. I drove us, I think, 9th or 10th or something like that. And Weaver got in the car. He was going really fast at the end of the safety car. I think he went from 10th. I think he was in 6th, making a pass for 5th, and he made a little bit of an opportunistic lunge, spun the car in front of him. So I don't know if results have been posted yet, but I know we're going to get a post-race penalty for that.
They have. We ended up 16th.
Okay, yeah. So that hurts a bit. Just if He just slid the fronts a little bit. It would have been a really good move if he could have actually made it stick, but he slid the fronts a little bit, made some contact. So, uh, wasn't a great race, but it wasn't terrible like some of the ones we've had.
All right. Majors, Indy 500, David, P3, that Tyler Beeman had the fast car all race. He was going to lose, and me finished third on fuel mileage, but a late caution came out. I still held on for third. Good run. Other events I ran, Chris McGuire hosted Supercars at Homestead, and then later a random hosted truck race at Talladega. There were about 50 people. I worked my way forward a few times, ended up P3 at the end almost. And then a pickup cup at Charlotte, absolutely destroyed in the first lap. And then another pickup cup at Charlotte started fifth and finished P3. All right, let's jump on to final thoughts. Brad Wren.
Um, didn't get I didn't get any races in last week because we were on vacation. I try to probably get something in this week. I don't know what it'll be, but it was kind of nice just really not to race for a week or two and actually be removed from the rig at all. So it was nice. But looking forward to next week. Going to be at the Sim Racing Expo. Looking forward to just being able to go down there as just as just an attendee and get to walk around and look at all the stuff. So excited to see what's down there. And actually spend a little bit more time, hopefully getting my hands on some stuff. I already told the wife, get ready. She's going to have to video, whenever I'm getting on stuff, just so I can remember everything and try to report back. Hopefully, be able to touch some of the stuff that we talk about and stuff that we don't normally get to see. There's quite a few vendors that are going to be at this one that weren't in Chicago last year. So excited about that. So yeah, I'm hoping this is going to be a success. Look, we're partial. I don't want to say we're partial to George with the Sim Gaming Expo, but that's where we're gonna be as a group. But look, we've talked for years about we needed to have these here in the States. So we had good turnout for the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago. We need to have good turnout in Charlotte as well. So I'm hoping that be well attended, and just kind of excited to see how this one's put on versus what we did in Chicago. So I think it'll be good to see a side by side comparison.
Yeah, maybe give him a couple tips and tricks of something maybe you see they're doing that he's not doing. I don't know, but yeah, I'm really glad to have these multiple expos going on. With you going to the expo, you're going to be traveling during our recording. I'm going to be gone to a graduation of family friends. So we're going to skip the podcast again next week. I hate to say that, listeners, but we are going to skip another week, and we'll be back the week after. William Westbrook, final thought.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna be out of town. Be hard to get us all together to record. So unfortunate, but uh, best for us. Yeah. So I'm just glad one to be getting results in leagues finally. I don't want to say I got burnt out because I didn't, but just endless week after week after week of not quite living up to your potential starts to eat at you a little bit. So I'm really glad that the last 2 weeks have been good for me. Other than that, yeah, I'm looking forward to being at Charlotte next week as well. A little bit of change of plans for me. I'm only going to be there on Friday, but I will be there. So yeah, I can't wait to see some of the displays and some of this actually get to touch some of the stuff we've been talking about for so long.
Yeah, so we got to hook up. Actually, get to meet face to face. That's the beauty.
We will be there. Yep.
Yeah, and so my final thought is kind of the opposite. I'm exceeding expectations at the Ringmeister. I'm this in shock almost. Like, how am I doing this? Like, how am I good enough to win 4 out of 6 starts? Uh, I'm just driving away from these boys. It's that simple. And I have the speed. Guess what, guys? I practiced. Believe it or not, Sunday I'm running laps in the Audi GTO 90 at the Nürburgring in testing. And guess what? It paid off. I mean, I was winning every start. And look, when you get to that point where you're a threat to win every race, it is an amazing feeling. It really is. And I don't know if I had a run like this before, Draft Masters. I think when Draft Masters first came out, I ran a week straight of that stuff and gained like 800 I rating or something. And this kind of feels like that at the Ringmeister. I just can't do it wrong. Like if I'm not winning, I'm wrecked. That's it's either checkers or wreckers. And so hey, come join me and show me that I'm not the king of the ring. With that, we'll see you on the track later. Okay, title ideas. Okay, we're off video. I like number 2. I think we've used all the other ones. Pretty sure we've used number 1. Haven't we?
I'm sure we have at some point.
Yeah, I think we have. So I don't want to pick that one. Not sure about 4. All right, vote.
Two's fine with me. Yeah.
2. Okay, 2 it is. Good show, guys. You got the stop record? Oh, you did.
I
Okay.
hit stop record, so you said I
Now
should
check
have.
your DMs. Scroll up to DMs and find that DM from the robot.
Yep. So you said I'm just going to forward this to just you forward the whole thing to
So I
David.
just right click the blue download link and hit copy and then paste that to David. You see he DM'd you a download link?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. Thanks for coming late even, William. That we do appreciate that. It helps.
Yeah, not a problem. Don't want you guys by yourself here.
Have fun next week, guys. I'll see you.
See you, Mike.
Yeah.